Okay, so I have completed the length of my cardigan and this is what it looks like. Now with the length you can do it as long as you like, and I have also done the right sleeve continuing with the same pattern, and I've just done the edging like this. So what we'll do next is I'm going to show you how I'm going to do the other sleeve, which is basically going to be exactly the same, and then you guys can do the sleeves and we'll come back and do the collar and all the edging. Okay, so let's start on the left sleeve together and I can show you how we're going to follow the same pattern. So when it comes to the sleeves, you can see that the edging of the sleeves does follow the pattern, and this is what we're gonna start making when we do the sleeve. The important thing is how to connect. So we will connect our next yarn right here. So this is in the middle of that shell there, which is the connecting one. And if you can see, you've got the front post double on both sides, and then you've got the beginning of a shell on both sides, so these are your V stitches as well, plus you've got this shell here. Okay, so another thing to remember when you are making the sleeves and connecting is to bear in mind whether you've ended on the wrong side or the right side. So for me, I've ended on the right side, so next I'm going to connect my yarn and go on the wrong side round. So you will know if you've done that, because on the wrong side you've got like a little indentation there, okay, and the right side doesn't have that. And you can do the sleeves all on the right side if you want to, but it's going to be slightly different than the rest of the cardigan. It's a very subtle difference, so totally up to you if that's something that you want to do. So let's make that first stitch like so, okay, and we're going to connect it in the middle of the armpit there. Okay, so pull that through and then chain 1, okay, and go ahead and chain 3 more. So this will count as a double crochet plus 1. I need to work on the wrong side, so I'm just going to turn my cardigan like so, and I'm going to work from the inside. Next, what we'll do is we're going to make another double crochet right in that same opening. So go ahead and make a double crochet there like so. Now we're going to skip these two. See, these are the double crochet from the shell, these two, and in this next opening here we're going to make 2 more double crochets like so. So we are trying to mimic a shell. Okay, and we've come to the back post double crochet, so go ahead and make a back post double crochet on top of that back post double from the row before, and now you're going to follow the pattern that we've been doing all throughout the cardigan. So you're going to skip 2, and in this chain space from the shell below we're going to make another shell. So that's 2 double crochets like so, chain 1 and 2 more double crochets into that same chain space. Okay, we're going to skip 2, and in that back post double crochet, there we go, from the row below we're going to make another back post double crochet. Keep on going with this pattern. So you're going to skip 2 and do another shell. So keep on going until you reach the last back post double crochet. So that's going to be this one here, I'm going to meet you here and we're going to finish this row together and start on the next one. I've made my last shell, so all I'm left to do is to do the last back post double crochet right there. And then what we'll do is we'll mimic what we've done on the previous side. So in here we're going to skip 2, and in this space here, okay, I don't know if you can see it, but this is just after the V stitch, so there's like a chain space there. We're going to do 2 double crochets like so, and we're going to connect that to this chain 3, okay, because remember we did chain 4, but that counts as a double crochet plus chain 1. So in the 3rd chain there, we're gonna do a slip stitch like so. Oops, there we go. Okay, and then in that chain space we're going to do another slip stitch just to bring our work to the middle. So we have done the slip stitch, and what we'll do is we're just going to chain 4, which again it will count as a double crochet plus chain 1, and let's turn our work. In that same chain space where our chain 4 is coming from, we're going to do 2 double crochets like so. So we've got 3/4 of that shell completed. Next we're going to skip 2, and in this front post double from the row below there, we're going to do another front post double like so. Skip 2, and in that chain space we're going to do another shell, which is 2 double crochets, so chain 1 and 2 more double crochets into that chain space, and we're going to follow this pattern all along this row: front post double, then a shell, front post double, and so on. Keep on going until you reach the last front post double. I'm going to meet you there. We're going to finish this row together and we're going to start on the next one. Now you've noticed, or you might have noticed, that I haven't put a stitch marker, purely because you can actually see which one is our first stitch, because it's a little bit higher than the rest of it. Okay, so keep crocheting and I'll see you in a second. So I've come to the last front post double, so I'm just going to make that now, and then once we've done that, we're going to do a double crochet into that chain space just before a chain 4 right there, and that's going to complete our first shell, because we're going to slip stitch it to the chain 3 like so, and then do another slip stitch to bring you to that chain space there, chain 4, and turn your work, and we are ready to start with the next row. Now this is the row with the back post double crochet, so we're going to start this exactly the same. So you're going to do 2 double crochets into that same chain space where our chain 4 is coming from. 1, 2. I'm sorry guys, it's just the sleeves, can't really stretch them enough to show you a little bit better, but possibly this is better. Okay, then we're going to skip 2, and in this back post there we're going to do another back post double crochet. So in there, that's going to be a back post double crochet like so. Then in the next chain space from the shell below, we're gonna make another shell. So this is the pattern we're gonna follow for this row. For the sleeves, you do have the 2-row repeat pattern. So we're gonna follow the pattern from the previous row and this row as well, all along the sleeve. Now for my previous, well, for the right sleeve, I did 15 rows, okay, following the same pattern, and that gave me about 17 centimeters. So my sleeve altogether is about 21. So go ahead and do your rows now for your sleeve, however many you need for the length of the sleeve that you are making. Now please bear in mind that we're going to do this lovely edging at the end, so you're going to need about 4 centimeters for this. So if you're making a sleeve which is 21 centimeters like me, okay, you need to make the rows totaling 17 centimeters. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to make 15 rows. I'm going to see you once I have the 15 rows, and then we're going to make this edging together. So I have completed 15 rows on that sleeve, and as you can see, it does follow the same pattern as the rest of the cardigan. Now what we'll do is we're going to do this part here. So as you can see, it's a little bit smaller than the rest of the sleeve. So to start that off with, we are not going to be turning our work anymore on the right and the wrong side. So just chain 3 after you've completed the last row, and in that same chain space we're going to do a double crochet. Okay, so we are not going to be making the shells anymore. Then at the next front post double, we're just going to do another front post double. So we are not changing this, we are still doing the front post doubles. In the next shell, in that chain space, we're going to do 2 double crochets. So not doing shell, we're just doing 2 double crochets instead of the shell. Then we're going to skip those 2 stitches, and in this front post double we're just going to make another front post double. So you're going to follow this pattern all along this row, and you're going to start seeing your work getting a little bit smaller, so it's going to start to tighten that opening. As you can see, continue with that pattern. I'm going to meet you once you come towards the end of that row. We're going to finish it together, and we're going to start on the next one. I'm coming towards the end of that row, and what we need to do is just to slip stitch that to that chain 3 at the beginning, like so, and we're going to chain 3 and continue with the same pattern. So we're going to do double crochet. Remember, this chain 3 does count as a double crochet. Then front post double, then 2 double crochets, front post double, and so on. So keep on going with this pattern until you have the length of the sleeve that you require. So you might want to do it a little bit longer, you might want to do it a little bit shorter. So this is pretty much what mine looks like. I've made 6 rows on mine, but again, you might want to do it a little bit shorter, you might want to do it a little bit longer. It's totally up to you. So keep on going with that pattern repeat. I'm going to meet you once we all have our sleeves, and we're going to see our work and start on the next. Okay everybody, so this is what our cardigan should look like now after we've completed both sleeves and the body of the cardigan. So what we are left to do is to complete the collar, and then we're going to have a lovely edging for the buttons and the button openings. The way we're going to do the collar is we're going to work in this original chain that we did. We're going to do few decreases as well, and these are going to be mainly at the V-stitch. Okay, we're going to increase the back a little bit, so that needs to be raised just a little bit more, and then do the pattern, which is going to be very similar to the sleeves, so it's going to match that. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a work to do for this, but let's start by getting our yarn and connecting it to our work. Now you can actually use a different color yarn if you want to, and that's going to give you a little bit of an edgy look, but this is totally up to you. I'm going to be using the same one because I want to do like a few accent things, like a few flowers and things, so that's why I'm using the same one. So you're going to find the starting chain, so we can actually work on this side. So this is your starting chain there. Okay, and go ahead and insert your yarn right there like so. So we're going to work from the back. Okay, you can actually, if you still got that tail, to tie them in, don't tie them too tightly, just give them a little bit of a knot there so they don't escape on you. Okay, and chain one, and we're going to turn our work because we're going to work on the wrong side. Okay, so what we'll do for this row is very easy. In each one of the stitches from our starting chain, we're going to do a single crochet. When we get to the V stitches, okay, we're going to stitch those three together. Okay, so we're going to do that on every V stitch. Please remember that when we were crocheting, you remember how we skipped two, then we did a shell, then we skipped two, and we did front post and back post double crochet. So in those skipped two spaces, you will have to put 2 single crochets. Okay, so I've just done my single crochet. Now I'm to this space here where I've got 2 chains, so you can do 1 and 2 single crochets there. Now we're in this space here for the shell, so go ahead and do a single crochet. Then in the next one, you're gonna do 2 single crochets right there. Then we've come to the back post double, so do a single crochet, then 2 single crochets here. Now you will notice that now I've come to the V stitch there. Okay, so I've done a single crochet. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 together, so that's going to be 1, 2, and this one together. So how we're going to do it, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, don't finish that, yarn over, pull through. On the next one you're going to have 3 loops on your hook, then the next one, yarn over, pull through, going to have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. Okay, and continue crocheting. I'm going to see you at the next V stitch, and we're going to do that one together, and then after that we're going to be at this back section, so I'm going to tell you what we're going to do then once we get there. Okay, so I have come to the next V stitch, and we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to do 3 together like so, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and just pull through all 4. And now we have come to this back section. Now remember I said we need to raise this back section just a little bit more. So what we'll do is, instead of doing single crochets, we're going to do double crochets all along this back section. So it's going to be the same thing in each of the stitches. Oops. In each of the stitches, you're just going to do double crochet rather than doing the single. Okay, so that's that one. Okay, so keep on going, and I'm going to meet you at the end of this section once you get to the next V-stitch, and we're going to do the decrease together. I've come to the next V-stitch, so that's that one there. It's very easy to see if you're looking at on the right side, which means that I need to do 3 together, and we're going to do this with single crochets. So 1, 2 and 3, yarn over and pull through all 4, and then keep crocheting with a single crochet. Just remember that you've got one last V-stitch, and you're going to do 3 together on that last V-stitch as well. And I'm going to meet you once we all come towards the end of this row. We're going to finish it together, and then we're going to start on the next one. I have come towards the end of that row. Please remember that we started and we ended these rows with 2 double crochets, so you're going to have 2 stitches to do just at the end. Okay, yarn over, pull through, so chain 1, and we're going to turn our work, and the next row will be another row of decrease, and we're going to actually decrease by a little bit more. So we're going to decrease at the V-stitch, okay, which is there. We are also going to decrease in the middle of the sleeve there. We're going to decrease on the next V-stitch. At the back, we're going to decrease 3 times, so 1, 2, 3. So it's very easy to see where you can sort of space them out. Then in the middle of the next sleeve there, and we're going to finish that row. So every V-stitch will get a decrease plus additional decreases on the top of the sleeves, 3 at the back and top of the other sleeve as well. Okay, so let's start with a single crochet like so. Now if it helps, pop in a stitch marker there so you don't lose that stitch, and keep on doing the single crochets until you get to that V-stitch. And once you get to the V-stitch, we're gonna do 3 together. Okay, so keep crocheting. So we are very near that V-stitch, so the V-stitch is just there. So I've got one more to do like so, and we're gonna do 3 together. So 1, 2 and 3 together. So yarn over, pull through, insert your hook into the next one, pull through, and the third one, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 4, and we've made a decrease. So keep crocheting until you get to the middle of that sleeve. So if you actually have a look at the sleeve, so these are the 2 V-stitches, it's just going to be here. It's very easy to see. It's just going to be where this front post is, and I'm at that front post there. So what we'll do is we'll crochet 2 together. So yarn over, pull through, insert your hook into that next one, pull through. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through. So on these spaces where the front posts are, we're going to do 2 together. On the V stitches, we're going to do 3 together. So let's get to the next V stitch. So we're going to do 3 together. So that's 1 and 2 and 3. Yarn over, pull through all 4, and we've come to this back section now. And what we'll do is we'll do the double crochets like we did before, but this time we're going to do decreasing when we get to the 3 posts there in the middle. Okay, so I'm coming towards one of them now. So let's do double crochet and 1 more, and we're going to do 2 together. So 1, don't finish it, and go into the next one and just finish that double crochet like so. So you've crocheted 2 together. So keep crocheting until you get to the next one. We'll do another decrease as well. So that's 2. Okay, so I'm coming to that front post now, as you can see, and let's crochet 2 together. So 1, don't finish it. Okay, start the next one, and this one you will finish by pulling through all 3, and that's pretty much it for this row. So keep crocheting. Please remember that you're going to do another decrease on the next front post there, 3 together when you get to the V stitch, another 2 together when you get on top of the sleeves, and these are going to be single. Okay, and another 3 together at the last V stitch, and I'm going to meet you at the end of that row. Okay, please remember that once you get to that V stitch, we are starting with single crochets. So I've come towards the end of that row. What we'll do is we'll chain 1 and turn our work, and next we're going to have yet another row of decrease, and we're going to do this at the V stitch like we've been doing in the middle of the sleeves, 3 at the back, and the same on the other side. But this time we're going to do these with a single crochet. So this row is all going to be single crochets row. We are not doing double crochets for this one. So again, if you would like to pop in a stitch marker there at the start, that might be a good idea as well, like so. And let's start with this section. As I said, we're just going to be doing single crochets all along this row, and the decrease at the V stitches, 3 at the back and 1 on the top of the sleeves. So that's my last one there, and now I'm going to do the decrease, which is 3 together at the V stitch. And then at the middle of the sleeves and the 3 at the back, they're going to be 2 together. Okay, so keep crocheting. I'm going to see you at the end of this row. We're going to finish it together, and then we're going to start on the next one. Okay, so I'm at the end of that row. I'm going to remove the stitch marker and do a single crochet. Okay, chain 1. I'm going to pull my yarn a little bit because I want to show you what our work looks like now. So basically this is what we have. Now I do like how this looks, and I do like this sort of mini collar here, so I'm going to leave it because the work is very busy as it is, and if we add a collar that is busy as well, for example, if it's exactly the same as the sleeves, you can imagine it going here, you will lose some of the pattern from the cardigan. So I'm just going to leave it here and gonna cut my yarn and pull through. I'm gonna weave in the ends later. Okay, next we're gonna have to do the edging on both of these sides, because one of it is going to be for the buttons and the other one is going to be for the button openings. Now if you put your work like this, you will notice that our cardigan actually comes together, so there's no overlapping, they're literally meeting at the middle there. Okay, for it to be buttons and button openings, we do need to overlap them like so. Okay, so you do have to have that overlapping, which means that we have to add border on both sides so we can do the buttons. Now you might want to leave this cardigan, you might want to just put one button at the top and leave it with just one button. That's certainly an option if you would like, and then you do just a simple edging. To be honest, this is pretty straight, so you don't actually need to do any edging if you don't want to, but this is totally up to you. I'm going to do the edging and I'm just going to show you how I'm going to do it, and then it's going to be your decision what you would like to do for your cardigan. To start with our edging, what we'll need to do is connect our yarn to our cardigan. So go ahead and make that first starting chain like so, and we're going to connect it right at the bottom. So remember this here, that's your double crochet, so just connect it to that first stitch like so, and then chain one. This is going to be fairly straightforward, really, and what we'll do is we're going to do half double crochets all along this side, all the way to the other side, to there, and that's pretty much it. Please remember that we were doing double crochet, so technically there's like 2 stitches for each. However, because of the front post doubles, those stitches are actually smaller. So what you'll need to do is to very much judge it yourself. I would recommend for you to do half double crochets in one and then 2 half double in the next one, and follow that pattern and see how your work looks, because it will all depend on your crochet. Now if you've crocheted loosely, you might actually have to put 2 half double crochets in each one, but you will know, because once you've started your work, if you've noticed that your cardigan is starting to squish like this, then you know you need to do more, because you don't want your cardigan to change the shape that it's on. So you don't want it to stretch, you don't want it to squish. So just have a look, do maybe 10, and then see if that's good count for you. If not, you might need to add a few more, or you might do a little bit less as well. So let's start in this first one. So we're going to start over here. So yarn over, insert your hook into that first space, yarn over, pull through. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, and that's your half double crochet. And go ahead and pop in your stitch marker like so. Okay, so then we have the next space, and we're going to do half double crochet in there as well, like so, and keep crocheting. I'm going to meet you once you come towards the end of this row. We're going to finish it together, and then we're going to start on the next one. I have completed that first row of the edging, and it looks something like this. Okay, I've come to the end, and what we'll do is we'll chain one and then turn our work. For the next row, we will have to do the button openings. So you will need to decide where you're going to put your buttons. Okay, so let me pull that through, and I'm quickly going to show you what I mean. So if we just lay it flat, like so, you will see that this is starting to go on top of that other side, like so. And I'm going to show you my buttons. Okay, so we've got these. So for me, I'm going to do one at the top, like so. Okay, and then I'm thinking every fifth row to have one, so like so. Okay, 5, and then okay, and this is where my button openings will need to be. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the button opening for this first one, and then you can continue with your row, because you will need to decide where you're going to do yours as well. It might be a good idea to do the first opening and then count how many stitches you've got until the next one, and then do the same number of stitches in between each of the buttons, and that's going to give you the best sort of ratio of where they need to be and the sizes in between, the gaps in between. But totally up to you, however you want to measure it. You might even want to put stitch markers. That's totally up to you. Okay, so let's start this row together. Okay, so we've turned our work, and this is where the first button is gonna go for me. You might be the same. What I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna crochet over this tail as well as I work my way. Okay, so we've chained one, and we're gonna start this row with a half double crochet. I'm just gonna crochet over this tail as well. Might not be able to do it all the way, but I'll see. And then go ahead and pop in a stitch marker right there. Okay, it's ready to do the button opening. So this will very much depend on the size of the buttons that you have. So for my buttons, I'm going to chain one, skip one, and do a half double crochet in the following stitch, like so. I'm going to do one more after, because I want to show you my button opening. So there you go. Now it might be a good idea, once you've done this and before you even do anything else, to actually check if your button is going to go through. So mine will, as you can see. If yours doesn't, it might need another chain. So rather than chain one, you can chain two, skip 2 stitches, and then start crocheting in the third one. But this is totally up to you and the size of the buttons that you are using. Okay, and that's pretty much it for this row. So you're going to do half double crochets, and everywhere you need to do a button opening, you're going to chain one or possibly two, and keep doing your half double crochets. Please remember that if you chain one, you need to skip one and then start crocheting. If you're going to be chaining two, you need to skip two and then start crocheting. Okay, so you're skipping exactly the same numbers as your chains that you're making. Okay, keep crocheting, and I'm going to see you at the end of this row. So I'm coming towards the end of that row. Just going to remove the stitch marker and do the last half double crochet right there. Chain one. Let's turn our work, and this last row is just a row of half double crochets all the way to the end. Please remember that when you did the chain one space, that counts as a stitch, so you will do half double crochets. For example, here there should be a half double crochet in there as well. Okay, keep crocheting. I'm going to meet you at the end. We're going to finish that row together, and we're going to start on the next side. So I'm coming towards the end. As you can see, I'm at this button opening, so I'm going to do half double in there and finish with the half double in this first stitch of the row, and that's that side completed. So I'm gonna just cut my yarn right there, and I will weave in the ends. Okay, and yeah, as you can see, the button openings are there, and again we can just double check if the buttons are actually going to go through, and whoa, okay, but yeah, they do. Okay, let's lay our cardigan flat, and now you're gonna see that that side will overlap this other side, okay, like so, which is what we want, because then you can put the buttons there. On the other side, what we'll do is we'll just do one row of half double crochet, exactly the same as we did on the other side, and that is very well, it's easier to put the buttons in, and it's going to look nicer with the other side when you put them one on top of the other. So go ahead and connect your yarn on the other side. Now I would like to do that on the wrong side, so I can connect it at the bottom, but you can do it on the right side and connect it at the top. This is totally up to you. Let's connect it on the right side. Okay, so in there where stitch marker is, we're gonna just connect our yarn. So go ahead and make the starting chain like so. Okay, we're gonna take that stitch marker off, and right there in that first stitch we're gonna add a new yarn and chain one. So this is exactly the same as the previous, well, the side that we've done previously. So let's do the first half double into that first space like so. You don't need to put a stitch marker because we're only doing this row, and continue with the half double all the way to the end of this section. Please be mindful that this side will need to have exactly the same number of stitches that you've put on the other side, because you want them to be even. So it might be worth your while to just count the stitches on the other side in order to know how many stitches you're going to need for this side. Okay, and keep crocheting. I'm going to see you at the end of this row where we're going to finish it together. So I have completed that row now, and I can safely cut the yarn and show you what we have so far. Okay, let's put our cardigan there. So that's that row completed. It just looks a little bit nicer, and yeah, what I'll do next is I'm gonna put the buttons in. I'm not gonna show you how to sew a button because I'm pretty sure you guys know. Just to let you know that I do sew my buttons using the yarn. So I do use a smaller needle to do it, especially when the button openings are really tiny. But I do like the look of yarn when I sew the buttons because it sort of matches with the rest of the garment. So yeah, I'm gonna do that and we're gonna come back afterwards. Okay guys, so here it is, my completed cardigan. So what I want to do is just to do a little flower. It's going to be very quick and very easy to do. I do have a tutorial for making flowers if you guys are interested, and we'll link the info in the description box below. But for now, let's just make a quick one. To make the flower, we will need to create a magic ring. So wrap your yarn around your finger like so, okay, into a little X. Insert your hook underneath that loop, pick up the working yarn from the back like so, pull through and do that again and pull through, and now you're ready to start on your crocheting and you've got the magic ring like so. If you pull on the tail there, you will see that that hoop is going to start closing. So I'm going to do 5 petals on my flower, which means that I'm going to crochet 5 single crochets into that magic ring like so. Now if you want to do 4 petals, you might want to crochet 4 single crochets, or maybe even 6 if you want to have 6 petals on your flower. This is totally up to you. I'm gonna make mine with 5. I don't want a big flower, I just want a little like a brooch flower. Okay, pull that tail to close that gap and do a slip stitch to the first stitch that we've made. Okay, like so, and yarn over, and that's your magic ring completed. Now if you've got like a little gap there, don't be scared, just pull the tail and that gap is gonna close like so. Okay, so we've got a little sort of circle for the middle of the flower. Now for the flower, I'm going to be using this yarn. So this is a little bit thinner than the flower I've got, and that's why I'm going to be using a smaller hook. So I'm going to be using a 3mm hook, and the reason why I'm using it is because this yarn is very sparkly. I don't know if you can see it, and I think it's very pretty. So let's connect this. Let's make that starting chain like so and connect this yarn. So you can connect it to any of these stitches that we've made. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so you can connect them into any of those. So insert your hook into the stitch, pull up that loop, yarn over and yarn over and pull through. Now you can weave in the ends as we go along, but you don't have to. Okay, so we're gonna start this by making a single crochet into that same stitch like so. Then we're gonna do half double, so yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over, pull through. You're gonna have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and you're gonna pull through all 3. Then we're gonna do 2 double, so going to make 2 double crochets. Oops. Like so, and 2, then half double. This is all in the same stitch, and you're going to finish with a single crochet into that same stitch. Okay, and there you have it. You've made a petal. So you're going to repeat this in all the stitches. So you're going to do single crochet, half double, 2 double crochets, half double, and a single crochet. So go ahead and make your petals, and I'm going to meet you at the end just before we finish. I have completed the last petal, and all we have to do now is just to slip stitch it to this first stitch that we've made, like so. I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and cut my yarn. And that's it, guys. That's our flower completed. It's only a little bit, well, a little flower, but I didn't want any big ones because the cardigan is already very busy. So I'm just gonna pretty much just put it somewhere here. Okay, maybe I should do like a few more actually, because that looks quite pretty. Maybe we can do them at the bottom, something like this. I'm gonna think about that. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I think I'm gonna do a few more flowers. I'm gonna put them on the cardigan, and then we're gonna take a pictures and see the end result.